Hey, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving week. I've come out of my turkey coma and I'm back to talking enterprise tech. Super excited today to chat with David Palmer, Chief Product Officer at Pairpoint. David, how are you?
I'm wonderful. Not celebrating Thanksgiving directly here, but looking to sort of join in with my American colleagues and have a great Thanksgiving. But no, absolutely loving the lead up to Christmas. I was in New York City last week, and it was surprisingly warm. But there's a big buzz about technology. And yeah, I'm sure that we're going to have some great energy and announcements coming into the new year.
Well, lots to talk about for sure. And you're at the heart of one of the most exciting areas, the intersection of Web3 and blockchain and the Internet of Things. So maybe introduce yourself first and your background and this venture that looks
Yeah.
really intriguing to me and many of my viewers.
Yeah. So my name is I think you've already said it, David Palmer. I have been, I'd like to say, at the forefront of Web3 in telecommunications. That has been the area I've looked at. I've been part of the Web3 community, I think, since Bitcoin was launched,
Mm.
and became more involved in Ethereum. But really, my role was to look at how blockchain technology could be adopted for telecommunications. And out of that came a lot of discussions on blockchain and Internet of Things. And out of that came Pairpoint. So I'm a co-founder of Pairpoint. I'm the innovator of Pairpoint. And that was about how uh, Internet of Things, with blockchain technology and Web3 technology and bridging fintech could actually lead to IoT devices transacting with IoT devices autonomously. And
Oh,
that's where it came from. So I've been around a long time, but this area is always fresh. It's always evolving. It's always new.
new and exciting and lots to learn here. So give us a little bit about the vision of Pairpoint. What are the problems being solved, the use cases, the industries being disrupted? It seems a lot. You're doing a lot in many different areas.
So the vision is to turn IoT devices into economic agents.
Mm.
If you look at it, there's billions of IoT devices, anything from connected cars, connected sensors, charge points, parking spaces, sensors, tolls, shipping freight containers. It just goes on and on. So we're moving increasingly to a connected world. And in the past, that connected world has been precisely about that, connecting devices, right? So a lot of money spent on these billions of devices, which produce data. 75% of that data is not used.
Mm.
75% is not used. And the vision of Pairpoint is to actually make an economy and a market out of these devices. If you look at it, I think in the next 5 to 7 years, we're expecting to have 70 billion IoT devices, nearly 10 times the human population. But they don't transact with each other. They can't, right? They can't trust each other. They can't transact with each other. And basically, our mission is to turn those devices into economic agents that can interoperate and trust each other and transact with each other. And we call that the economy of things.
The economy of things. I love it. So, how did your background in telecom, a very practical and focused field, prepare you for this world of Web3, which is a little more chaotic and disruptive? Tell us about how looking to balance innovation with those practical
Uh,
applications that you envision there.
yeah, I mean, one of the positive things about Vodafone, and Pairpoint is by Vodafone. We're also co-owned by a company called Sumitomo Corporation out of
Mm,
Japan. But it's majority owned by Vodafone. But part of the culture that we came out of was an innovative culture.
mm,
So when you go to Vodafone, there's always some seed money to try something. You have startups within within the company. Um, so one of the things I like about Vodafone is that they never shut a door if you've got a good idea. In fact, there's
Mm.
whole processes where people pitch their ideas within the company.
Oh, wow.
And actually, with Internet of Things, we were always looking at innovation. So I think I was in the right place in that I'm an innovative person. I'm an ideas person, and I was in a place where they were willing to listen, and that's where this came from. Where essentially I was in part of the blockchain community, part of the IoT community. I'm saying, okay, how does this blockchain Web3 world link with the IoT telco world? And it came at a time when a lot of telcos were going through a journey of moving from communication service provider to digital service provider, from telco to techco. And
Mm.
and they're looking at how you can add value. They're looking for how they can become platform organizations. And I think Web3 and blockchain came at the right time because if you look at if you look at the journey we're on, Vodafone is I think has been for the last 8 years voted number one for managed connectivity IoT platforms. So I think
Mm.
in terms of Gartner Contrib, we've got that maybe for the last 8, 9 years. But what is the next phase? And when you look at blockchain, you're saying, okay, could blockchain provide the ability for the Vodafone IoT devices and other IoT devices to trust each other? One of the core functions of blockchain is trust, right?
Mm.
It's bridging that interoperability. And then you ask the next question: could blockchain and Web3 provide the automation capability? So if one device can trust another, so if a car can trust a charger, if a car can trust a tolling booth, if a drone can trust a logistics device, could then the next phase be, the ability to automate a transaction, right? Where you have a precondition buy and sell acceptance. Could you
Hmm.
automate a transaction? So could you essentially use that trust to then look up a smart contract, which could then bring the terms for a transaction, and then could you actually execute that transaction peer to peer? And that's where it came from. That was the original vision, and that is where the sort of Pairpoint platform called DAB that we have today, was developed from. But but it came from an idea, and Vodafone gave us the seed money to do a proof of concept, which we did in 2018. I think it was approved in
Hmm.
December 2018, and we built it out. And then
Wow.
there was a champion of sort of Web3 and innovation, Ninian Wilson, who is he's actually the director of Vodafone Procurement Unit. And he basically said, look, I've seen this Web3 blockchain technology. I want to select four POCs. So we'd done a POC at the time to take to MVP, minimum viable product. And we were
Mm.
selected as one of them. So we got a bit more funding. And then we sort of started to build out the basis of the platform. And then Vodafone had big bets. So we went on we entered the big bets competition and we won it. So we got some more funding. And then following that, we got big funding to build it out, and we're here. So I've got to say that Vodafone provided the right environment for someone like me, who's a disruptor, innovator, to turn an idea into a platform, and a protocol.
Well, very, very exciting. Congratulations on that. And what a great story so far. So, how do you bring together the infrastructure, these two worlds of IoT, which is based on real-time, networking, and 5G, and the Web3 world, which is a whole nother set of protocols and paradigms? How do you bring these together in a meaningful way? It sounds like quite a job on the technology
It,
side.
it is a job, but it's a job that I believe is part of the new digital infrastructure that we're building
Mm.
for the new digital world. And essentially, the basis from it, I got get a bit technical now. So the basis for it
Yeah, please.
is cryptography in the SIM. So in the SIM card that we that we have. So I mentioned there's 160 million devices. Next 5 to 7 years, 70 billion IoT devices are expected to be in operation. But if you look at it from a SIM point of view, how we managed to bridge these things, and I didn't know when we started the vision that we could do this, was to say, okay, can you link a SIM to a blockchain? That was the thing. Yeah, we need the blockchain to have the ecosystem. We need to have the blockchain to have the trust. Can you link a SIM, a cellular device, a SIM to that? And actually, we found out that you can, right? So actually, in the SIM, you have a hardware secure module. In the SIM with our technology, you're able to produce 9 public-private key pairs. We're
Mm.
also able to bootstrap with our SIM Trust technology a key to a SIM card.
Wow.
Essentially, when a SIM card gets into a device, it can use the modem, and there's Java middleware there that you can exploit. And also the device with the SIM uses elliptic curve technology. So we were essentially, as a starting point, able to build a bridge from a SIM card with elliptic curve to blockchains with the elliptic curve, right? So those chains were Hyperledger Fabric, Ethereum, and Arch Recorder, and we managed to build a bridge. So what does that mean? It means that number one, you can have a bridge to from a device with this SIM card to chain. But more importantly, is that the device can externally sign on chain. So the device can actually participate and externally sign with the private key in the SIM card on chain, transactions on chain. And that was the basis of it. So then you had a link
Mm.
between blockchain infrastructure and cellular infrastructure. And that is the basis of our technology USP today.
Wow, it's very impressive, and I mean the benefits are so clear for B2B and opportunities. But what about consumer experiences? Could consumers see better, more seamless, transparent experiences with technology as well from
Uh,
this go to market?
no, absolutely. So
Yeah.
again, we bring cellular to blockchain technology and blockchain to
Hmm.
cellular technology. And at the basis of it, what we're doing is mastering interoperable digital identity for IoT devices. And
Hmm.
on that, as part of that identity, the digital identity for IoT devices, you have a payment credential or payment credentials that can be part of it. You have your private key or your private keys. You can have the identity passport, which gives you the credential to be trusted by other devices on the network. And that is important. So you have now, for example, a connected car that has a digital identity, has its own wallet, that has its own payment credential, that has its own key. That is essentially a point of sale machine, right? Now you're saying, okay, what if you then link somebody's personal identity, a person's identity with that car? What use cases can be supported? Well, actually, in business, you can completely disrupt the fleet business where essentially they're managing payment credentials using drivers. And actually, you
Mm.
could say, actually, I've got a car, and this, or I've got a vehicle. This vehicle has its own payment credential, and rather than manage you, I'm going to manage one payment credential in the car, and I'm going to authenticate multiple drivers to use it.
Oh,
That's
brilliant.
one. But then you could also look at that from the point of view and say, okay, if I've got a consumer, I can link the consumer to that car, and I can automatically charge their payment credential. What does that mean? It means renting a car, with you direct to the car without any friction, because you can automatically check out their driver's credential and their payment credential and their rental credential and their insurance credential. It means
Mm.
leasing. It means bundling EV charging with car subscriptions, because that is part of what we can do. Mastering a credential for a device and being able to link humans, essentially you become the new digital customer relationship management system. And this is what we're working with automated makers on, who want now to, like Tesla, to have a relationship with the driver, owner, user of the car. We're able to do that because we're able to link the identity of the car or the identity of a vehicle or a device with the identity of the user owner of that device. Now, it becomes very interesting, where the driver, owner, user of a device is then able to be paired, and we're able to leverage technology at scale. So there's been a lot of talk about self-sovereign digital identity and WD3 standards and DIDs, etc. And I think where the beauty of scaling the technology and bringing telcos to that infrastructure is that we already have
Mm,
Mobile Connect. Mobile Connect is basically used in Europe. I'm not sure about the US, where you're making a transaction and they want to do a 2FA and they'll send you a code by SMS to your phone and you type it in or whatever. We can use the same Mobile Connect infrastructure with millions, if not billions, of users
mm.
across all the networks, not just Vodafone, to link people and authenticate them to the car. So you've got a new form of automation, a new form of friction-free commerce, which can be essentially benefiting the consumer.
Extraordinary. Wow, what a great mission. What were some of the challenges in bringing this platform together? I imagine there were quite a few. And just looking forward, you have to overcome a lot of fragmentation and various interworking and standards, interoperability. What tell us about the challenges and
And,
how you're kind of knocking them down.
so I think one of the main challenges is that you've got a moving target, right?
Mm,
Technology in Web3 is moving at such a rate
mm,
that it's changing weekly, not monthly, not yearly. So you've got a moving target, and that is sometimes difficult when you've got a moving target that's moving so quickly, and you've got enterprise type development budgets and cycles.
mm,
Um, I think the other sort of challenge was around how you link cellular technology to blockchain technology, especially where blockchain technology doesn't have the scale and the speed and the resilience of the telco technology. Obviously, we see ourselves as a layer two, and part of our
mm,
layer two protocol is how you can effectively combine the two technologies at scale, with the right resilience and security. I think the other one is just being in an enterprise environment. What you find is that there's two speeds. You've got the Web3 world, which moves at speed, which innovates at will, and you've got the enterprise environment, which is very risk averse, doesn't move very quickly, and we're across both of them, and it's a big challenge. Because we need to move quickly, but we need to also satisfy the requirements of enterprises. I like to think we balance that, and that's more of a cultural challenge. But there's been many technical challenges as well, because you're doing stuff that hasn't been done before, and every time you're not just consuming an API and populating the data for an API. You're actually challenging the boundaries of what's possible, right? Is it possible to have a SIM card speak to a blockchain? Is it possible to link PKI to a SIM and have it externally signed?
mm,
Is it possible to have a wallet that links to a smart contract that can work across Web3 payments and fintech payments? Can you bring fintech into Web3
mm,
wallet? And sometimes we get a break, so things like account extraction has helped us. But sometimes we got to solve the problems ourselves. So it's been a journey that we're still on, right? We haven't solved all of the problems, and we're expecting that this space will move very quickly. Of course, we've got a new entrant to the party called generative AI, and of course that is part of our considerations as well. When you look at the fact that you've got billions of IoT devices, what are they producing? Data. What does generative AI, large language models need? Data. And part of what we're looking at is how we can connect the data from the IoT devices to the large language models so that we can have richer AI outputs.
wow, what an exciting opportunity. And tell us about your go-to-market. Obviously, enterprise is key, and you have a pole position there. Are you working with developers and integrators and other kinds of players in the value chain as well?
Go to market. So I think one of our biggest assets, it's one of the biggest challenges because you've got enterprise, but one of our biggest
Mm,
assets is that we are backed by two global brands, right? Vodafone
mm,
and Sumitomo. And they are our prime channels, right? Vodafone has, I think, 22 operating companies. It's got 27 partner markets. It's a global company with millions of
mm,
customers, millions of connections. So obviously, part of our go-to market is to mobilize the Vodafone channels with the Pairpoint product, right? And that, as chief product officer, is part of my personal challenge. But the other side is that we also have partners. So we work with partners in the fintech and banking and finance space who are global. We work with service integrators who are global. We already have a huge ecosystem in our IoT platform, which we're translating to Pairpoint, which is a gift. I think once we have all of the IoT devices on, you'd have 160 million plus devices that are part of a blockchain or that are part of a Web3 ecosystem, which would probably make us one of the biggest Web3 platforms, right, in terms of size,
Sure.
just out the box. And that's our go-to-market, right? Service integrators, Vodafone, Sumitomo channels, working with partners and using them as channels as well. To grow this into the biggest ecosystem of IoT devices, which are connected, interoperable, and transactable in the world.
Wow. Well, what a mission. And tell us about your team. Obviously, we know your partners are everywhere. I think you have operations in the UK, obviously, or in London and Portugal. Is that right?
Yeah, so everybody's going to Portugal, and I went there. I was there a few months ago,
Great
and I
place. Great
and I
place.
and I, I went to I saw the beach and I saw the restaurants, and it's very clear why they're setting up in Portugal. But no, I think there's a lot of talent in Portugal. So
Mm,
our prime locations are London and Portugal. Um, we are obviously looking at North America as a potential base as well, given the importance of that market. But at the moment, London, Portugal. We've got a lot of talent, so we've got a great head of or chief people officer, who's part of the leadership team, who's scouring the world for talent, and it's needed, right? Because what we've learned is that use case and vertical expertise is important to sell a platform. So we have, one of the verticals that we're looking at is obviously mobility and energy with
mm.
EV charging and in-car payments. Supply chain logistics is obviously important for us as well, and then healthcare is another one. So having a team that incorporates expertise in that area and can combine that with innovation is part of the sort of key drivers and ingredients to success, we think. So we're scouring the world for talent. We'd like to think that we have some of the leading developers in IoT and Web3, and especially combining those two technologies. And we're still looking.
Wonderful. Well, it sounds like a plan for success. For potential customers and partners, how soon can they get their hands on your technology? Where are you in your sort of rollout?
Yeah, so we have an SDK that's available.
Hmm.
So I think we have I think we're on GitLab and GitHub,
Hmm.
and then that SDK is available. So yeah, I would just go to vdigitalassetbroker.com from the Vodafone side, or Pairpoint.io, and you should be able to get your hands on, or at least make an inquiry to get your hands on that. Um, in terms of the solutions, we're already out there with EV charging. So we
Mm.
have 90% coverage of chargers in Europe as part of our solution, and that application, which is a business-to-business application, is now live, and we've got cars on the road which are
Wow.
using the DAB technology. And I think that's just the beginning. Look out in 2024 for some big announcements with some big major automobile manufacturing in the areas of in-car payments. And I think there's already been some exciting announcements, but there will be more in supply chain logistics. We had one not too long ago with Chainlink and
Mm.
Sumitomo Corporation, and I think you're going to see some big follow-ups on that.
Wow. Exciting times. Well, thanks so much for an overview of the
Thank
mission
you.
and vision. What are you excited about as you close out the year here? Any travel or events? Are you going to stay closer to home
Uh, so
before the busy next year?
I I've spent the year traveling. I don't know how many air miles I've got, but I've traveled virtually to every continent in pursuit of Web3, metaverse, and IoT. Uh, I think it's a great end to the year. I think last year was a bit negative in terms of a lot of negativity in Web3 failures, exchanges failing, banks failing.
Mm,
But now I think there's some green shoots. Certainly, you're starting to see the signs that things are turning for Web3. And yeah, I put out something sort of saying that Web3 and blockchain never went anywhere. It
mm,
was just it was just maturing and growing in the business environment and the financial environment. We're seeing
mm.
headlines from JP Morgan, HSBC, Mastercard, Visa, all talking about tokenized deposits, which is basically tokenizing deposits in your bank account so that can go into the token economy. And we're seeing big headlines on digital identity, real world asset tokenization. NFTs are starting to make a comeback in gaming. Metaverse is starting to refine itself as a manifestation or an environment for AI. AI is continuing to find the headlines, maybe for the wrong reasons last weekend, but it's still really important. And I think what we have is the ingredients for technology to come together in a way that is never done before, and to power new digital solutions that we've never seen before. And I think we're going to see that start next year in a powerful way. So I think we're closing out the year on a positive note, and I think those of us in this field will be starting the year with a lot of energy and a lot of positivity. And I'm expecting that if we speak next year this time, there will be some announcements we didn't think of. There will be some platforms we didn't think of, some protocols we didn't think of, some solutions we didn't think of. And I think there'll be actors we didn't think of because there's a lot of people who have been investing in blockchain, Web3, AI, IoT in business that haven't been announced yet.
Well, lots of excitement to come. And thanks so much for joining us here. I hope we'll have a chance to meet maybe at CES or Mobile World Congress in
For
Barcelona, one
sure.
of the many industry events. And thanks everyone for watching. Reach out to David and team at Pairpoint with any questions or thoughts you might have. Thanks, David.
Thanks,
Have a good
Evan.
weekend.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.